we have Thodoris. Thodoris is our first Greek speaker for today, Thodoris. And I met Thodoris today, actually, for some weird reason. We had been saying hi the past couple of days during the other events, but today was the first time we introduced ourselves. And I asked him, what do you do? Like, Tikanis. And he was a bit confused because, I'm on the organizing team. I'm supposed to know the speakers. Naturally, he found it weird that I didn't know him. And that's how people don't like me, with the first impression. But okay, they may give me the benefit of the doubt, right? So because I was nervous and I wanted to make small talk, I asked him, how old are you? But in Greek, how old are you and how tall are you is the same thing, like πόσο είσαι. So he asked me, how tall am I? So that's when he was sure that I'm not a good person. And I give you Thodoris.
Okay. Thanks so much for this lovely intro. Hi everyone. I hope I don't faint on stage, actually. So, as Katerina said, my name is Theodore, or Thodoris in Greek. I'm an independent software engineer. I'm based in Athens, Greece, actually. And today I'm gonna do a kind of interesting talk. So that's what I'm thinking about this talk. So we're gonna talk about a few WebAssembly modules, a headless browser, and a bunch of cats, if that makes sense to you. But before start speaking you about this topic, it's important to place a huge warning here because some parts of this presentation might sound a bit triggering for some people in the audience. So I did my best to keep everything as mild as possible. And also some parts of this presentation are like highly legal. So don't try this at home. So I have set up the stakes to jump high. And let me tell you my story, actually. So it's December 2020. Greece is under a strict lockdown. I'm sitting in my house with my pajamas, doom scrolling through Twitter. And that's when I saw a weird tweet. I can't recall the exact same tweet. But it was something like, my photos have been leaked. Please help me. And stop evil.com. And then another one. And another one, and another one. And obviously I don't want to advertise horrible people, so we're gonna stick with evil.com, right? Because jerks.com was taken. And out of curiosity, I went into evil.com, which was an anonymous image board website, so people could anonymously post photos and videos and chat around. It had different rooms based on the region, so we had the Greek one, the English one, you name it. And the thing is that this was a sketchy website, no privacy policies, no terms of use, no official conduct, no nothing. And it was basically used for non-consensual, intimidate image sharing, also known as revenge porn. So people were trying to harm innocent women and girls by posting the private moments up there. And I thought that I have to do something, right? So I tried to contact the Greek authorities through an online abuse form. And I also tracked down all the hosting providers, AWS, Cloudflare, DigitalOcean, and tried to contact them as well, hoping that they would do something. Spoiler alert, they did nothing. So I thought that maybe I could try and be on hackers mode, so try to find some security holes, I don't do that kind of thing, so it was helpless. And it was back then that I found out that they had a weird feature on their website. So its board had a maximum amount of photos displayed, 256 if we want to be precise. And once that threshold was reached, any new photos would remove the old ones. So now, so in order to keep things fresh, like the jerks, they were trying to keep people posting photos. And here's the question: what if someone, not actually me, could try and build a bot that would potentially flood the website with random photos? So we can actually help the victims and hide the actual photos from the victims. And if you want to build a bot, actually, you can use something like a headless browser. In our case, would be Puppeteer, which is actually a headless Chrome browser. And I'm not sure if you can see the code. So, and actually, the script is really simple. So you can launch a new Puppeteer instance, right? We'll head to evil.com/Greece. We'll locate the image upload locator and upload an actual dummy photo from our local file system. And it worked, like, flawlessly for the first time. I tried to rerun the script. It failed miserably because they had some sort of duplicate checking. So because they were using AWS S3, so they had you couldn't upload the same image over and over again. So right now I'm scratching my head because potentially I'm trying to find out an infinite source of image. So I was thinking that maybe I could try and use some OpenAPI or maybe try Google search. And back then, like a few days before that incident, I read an article about a really cool project, which is called thiscatdoesnotexist.com, which is an IA generator that produces indefinitely photos of cats. So now I have an infinite source of random photos, posting cats on our revenge porn website. And we can actually modify the code a bit. So now, instead of picking up a photo from the local file system, we can download a photo from the website and re-upload it over and over and over again. So I left that script running. It was late at night. And before going to sleep, I posted a tweet, which roughly translates as, until you shut you down, I have created a bot that floats the website with random photos of cats. Cats will prevail. And the next morning, I woke up, and it was my sister on the phone. It was like, dude, you're viral. And things have changed, because actually, we started an online petition taking down this website. We got 35,000 signatures in just a few days. And some journalists actually got obsessed about this topic, and I made some interviews, and they have started putting pressure on the legal authorities in Greece. And people were like amazing. They started creating human patrols so they would use their own computers in order to spam the website. And finally, a few days later, Greek PM asked a question with my name in the European Parliament. And this was a great moment for my mom, actually. But, you know, evil.com is evil, right? So they tried to fight back. And they tried to introduce some sort of bot checking mechanism. But then we can use a plugin on top of Puppeteer, which actually spoofs the user agent and the viewport. So now our bot looks like a real device. Yeah, nothing there. And afterwards, they introduced rate limiting and IP blocking. So once they detect that there was multiple uploads for an IP, would actually block that IP address. So I thought that maybe I could use a Docker container, and maybe I could try and run that container on my free credits using GitHub Actions, so getting a free IP address from the container each time. And actually, I could try and use every free container service out there multiple times. So at the moment, we were hitting them hard, more than 5,000 uploads per minute, 24/7. They were actually bleeding money to AWS. And they tried to fight back again. So they turned on the HCAPTCHA protection from Cloudflare, so in order to access the website, you need to solve a CAPTCHA puzzle. But HCAPTCHA is actually vulnerable. Once again, another Puppeteer plugin. This one is quite interesting, actually, because under the hood is using TensorFlow and a pre-configured object detection model, which is called Coco SSD. I'm not sure if I'm not pronouncing this right. And this is how it works. Once the bot finds out that there is a checkbox that indicates that there is a CAPTCHA, we can read the keyword. So we can read that we're looking for bicycles, and we can run this plugin on using TensorFlow in order to identify the images. And it actually works great. It takes 15 to 20 seconds to solve a puzzle, and it has a success rate for up to 7%. So we're still hitting them hard. And at the moment, some victims of this website started filing legal lawsuits in Greek courts. And in February 2021, the website dropped access for Greece. So we won, right? Well, kind of. Because the thing is that we also tried to analyze the data. So who are these people? Why do you want to harm other people, right? And the thing is that they're common people, and they're not some sort of dark webist guys, you know, lurking around the dark ages of the web. No. They're actually acting as a cult, and they're using commercial-grade communication channels like Reddit, WhatsApp, Telegram, you name it. So Level.com was just the tip of the iceberg. And along with a group of journalists, we wanted to actually try and analyze that data. So I had to modify the script a bit. So now on, before start posting photos of cats, we would try and download the photos posted. We will also try and gather as much of the chat logs as possible in order to have something in place. In May 2021, we handed over 20 gigabytes of non-consensual images and videos to a Greek public prosecutor. 8 arrests have been made here in Greece and waiting for trial, so that was a really big thing. And so we had the photos in place, right? But legally and morally, we couldn't keep the data, right? So I found an idea, which is kind of interesting. It's called, it has been taken from a library that's called notsafe4work.js, which actually detects porn photos. And it uses TensorFlow as well. So now that we have the data set in place, we can actually create our own TensorFlow model in order to find patterns on the photos and the videos posted. And afterwards, we deleted everything. So now we have a criterion in place. So we can identify suspicious links scrolling through the web. And we also found out that these people were using something like a common language. So we could actually create a dictionary with keywords that we're repeating over and over again in the chat logs. So now we have two powerful tools in our hands. So I have created a fleet of bots that every day it scrapes the web for suspicious links. And afterwards, we have created different personas based on the platform. So we have logins for Telegram, Facebook, you name it. And these credentials are known to the legal authorities and the services. And we can check if this is a revenge porn communication channel using the TensorFlow model or the dictionary. Once we found out that this is a malicious website, we immediately reported to the legal authorities and flagged it down. And from May 2021, we have taken down more than 2,500 channels all across the globe. But you know what? This is an infinite war. We cannot win. We cannot win jerks. Every time we're taking down a website, 2 more are coming up. Every single time. So we need to think something different, right? And other platforms had the very same problem. So Facebook, in 2018, they introduced the Facebook Threat Exchange program. And they actually open sourced everything. So this is an open developer API, and people can can build applications on top of this API. And this is how it works. So using the Threat Exchange program, you can ask for taking down a photo of yours from the Facebook products, from the Meta products like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. And they're using an algorithm that's called PTQ. So because they don't want to expose their human operators into some gruesome content or nudity, they could actually hash the photos. This is a one-way hasher. provide the hash back to the platforms, and delete every single entry from their databases. And the great thing about PDQ is that it's lossless, and even if the photos are slightly distorted, rotated, cropped, they produce the same hash. So it's a really great tool. But there is a problem there, because actually the original platform was written in C++, so we cannot reuse this library in our Node.js environment. But luckily though, we can use WebAssembly modules. And by no means I'm an expert to WASM, but it was really tricky to move the actual algorithm into JavaScript because it has complex transformations and so on. And ideally, we could use the EM-scripten, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, compiler, in order to create a binary that we can consume inside the bot. So now, before taking down the websites, we can start grabbing all the photos available, and we can start hashing them, producing unique hashes. And afterwards, we can store the hashes in our database, along with some metadata. So who posted, when posted, which is the platform, and so on. And what we can do with the data. So the thing is that I'm working on a platform called Photostop. That's, yeah. And I hope that it will be live in September 2022. And that would be a way that we could actually support the revenge porn victims. And this is how it works. So imagine that you're suspicious that a photo of yours has been leaked into the web. You can use a search bar, and you can pick a photo of yours, the one that you're suspicious for. So using this very same WAS module, because we're privacy first and we don't want to get your hands on your photos, so we can reuse the WAS module on the client, and we can hash on the fly the photo. And afterwards, we'll post back to the server the hashes, check the entries against our database, and finally help you out. So we are right now in open contact with different organizations seeking for legal help, so we can help people get their photos out of the internet, seeking legal help, seeking psychological help. And basically, when we get a rule from a court, we can submit evidence and help out the victims. I hope you're not tired. So, if there's something that you can take away from this talk, it's the fact that you can offend 3 billionaires in a single conference talk with subliminal messages on the footers. And also that you can reverse engineer some parts of this talk, so you can protect your products and services from malicious bots. You can also reverse some parts of this presentation in order to create, interesting products, because it's really cool to extract data, so you can create your own bots for your own applications and so on. And it is really cool because I was hoping that I would close my talk, and so Kyle had this thing that I truly believe that basically we are the architects of the world. Somehow we can create millions or thousands of dollars of revenue for companies and corporations and you name it. And it's somehow we have so much power in our hands that we can actually use just a little of them, just a little bit of knowledge in order to help people. And I think that's great. Thank you so much for your time and patience.